Go ahead, you're live.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. This is the Black Imam's Roundtable. This is your host for tonight. I'm going to be kind of acting as host and leading the discussion, inshallah ta'ala. Tonight we're going to talk about um, dealing with difficult social issues in Black Muslim America. We're not going to solve all the problems, but we want to have this conversation about things we need to do, ways that we need to approach our issues, especially the sensitive issues like drug addiction, mental health, people's sexuality, homelessness, trauma, things of that sort. And we're going to have our say, but we really want to see what people have to say about it. Uh, I'm just going to open up, and then I'm going to pass it on to Imam Naeem, I guess. But I just want to say that one of the things that I've been writing about, and others have been talking about as well, is the need to have candor in our dialogue. And this topic tonight started with a some Facebook posts, like some of them do, that I wrote about language in marriage. We were talking about hoe mentality, and that came to talk about pimp mentality. And so some of the Muslims felt that the topic of hoes, just the topic of hoes, I'll deal with that. Talking about hoes is a no taboo topic for Muslims, particularly imams, to talk about. I countered that argument with my understanding. My view is that no, what we have to realize that because we come from Jahiliyyah lifestyle, that and we know in Jahiliyyah we got hoes, we got pimps, we got drug dealers, we got drug addicts, we got thieves, we got robbers, we got academics as well. We have professionals, but we have a lot of different people in Jahiliyyah and part of Islam. And when people convert to Islam, they do bring some of the Jahiliyyah lifestyle into Islam. One of those is the negative impressions people have about marriage, or Muslims openly now talk about, this, I'm not getting married, but I have relationship. I'm in a relationship. And so how do we couch that? And so in order to deal, this is my view, uh, in order to deal with these type of issues, we have to speak sometimes in a language that is commensurate with our situation or reality. So we have to talk about things that are really going on. Like if somebody's in a relationship, sister becomes Muslim, brother's not Muslim, they got 3 kids, they're living in a relationship, she can't really find a husband, so she's with this guy, and it could be abusive or not. Well, how do you deal with that? You just can't say mashallah and wave a wand. You might have to really get with somebody, and that's what imams have to do on the ground. Not all the time, but my my personal and also professional conviction is that uh, we can't pray our problems away. There has to be a better way. And no, we should not disparage people personally or make them feel bad intentionally without warrant. But sometimes, yeah, you have to make people feel bad. Another thing came up was about in the language, because someone said, "Imam, we can't judge, we can't condemn anybody, we can't call people names." And she wasn't talking about calling an individual name. That's riba. That's a different, whole different Islamic ruling goes for me calling somebody by their name, especially on Facebook. Yeah, brother so and so is a so and so. That's backbite. That's something different. But just calling types of people by name. Well, pimps do this, hoes do this, niggas do this, things like that. So I mentioned that in the Quran, in Kitab Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not mince words when he starts talking about people. He talks about munafiqeen, the mushrikeen, the fujjar, I mean, he talks about the fujjar, he talks about people, uh, and he talks about knowing certain terms. types of people. So that was my impression. So I thought that could open the door to a broader conversation, because I've mentioned on this forum before that Black American Muslim communities are on a precipitous downfall, and we're headed towards extinction. So if you're going to be extinct or virtually extinct in the next 30 years, it doesn't really matter how much the language you're going to do. If this doesn't work, try this, try this. And I'm going to leave it just open the floor like that. And of course, we're looking for questions. If you have questions, we'll try to answer them. I'm going to pass it on to Imam Naeem.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. Man, I really don't have a lot to add because, as a grassroots imam, I don't know what other way to be. Like, what's every khutbah in class going to be about? Wudu. Next week's khutbah going to be about tayammum. Next week's khutbah going to be about, hayd. Next week's khutbah is going to be about nifas and, arkan salat, shurutu salat. You have to, make Islam relevant for the people, right? And, I personally believe that, at least as far as from, speaking and teaching, I believe that the teaching, like those examples I just made from like Tahara and Ibadah, that's really reserved for, the classroom or in the class we have in our Masjid or what have you. The Juma khutbahs, I believe, should be motivational. It should allow people to be able to connect. It should also like translate. I think we have to be a bridge to be able to, translate what people are going through, experiencing, and modern nuances, and properly, quote unquote, translate and properly categorize those things into the category that they fit in Islamically, and show people how to navigate it. Because, a lot of people are actually fooled by the title of things. Like, for example, Imam Amin, he's always talking about, names and meanings. And a lot of people get caught up on names, but don't have a clue of what those names or titles or words mean. And so a lot of people are talking about nowadays, like mental health issues or emotional issues. A lot of us don't know how to categorize those issues Islamically, so that we know how to deal with them from an Islamic standpoint. And so I think it's extremely important that we be those people who translate. And if we stay, disconnected, and not keep it real, or not, address the issues, or as I said before, this week's class is on wudu, next week's class is on tayammum, week after that it's on Hajj, next week after that is on, Ramadan. Okay, those are acts of ibadah, but we are living real lives, and people are, experiencing things, and Islam is a complete way of life. So we have to address everything that, that afflicts us in life. And, a Muslim should not have to go outside of Islam to, be able to deal with their issues. We need all hands on deck, so that's all I have to say. Imam Luqman, you muted.
I'm going to pass it on to Imam Faheem, get his take on it, because you in the trenches down there in Camden, bro. No, it's the trenches, man. It's the trenches.
Assalamu alaikum.
Camden is the trenches. Yeah. Alaikum salam.
Bismillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafu anbiya wa mursaleen. Sayyidina wa habibina al-Mustafa. Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsani ila yawmiddin wa ba'd. First, I would like to thank everybody for tuning in. And I want to respond to all of the salams that people have sent. We thank you for your time with us tonight. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us a beneficial gathering. I mean, as you all know, we don't really like rehearse these topics. You know, we like get the topics the same day, and we got like a small window. I mean, there's really no research or anything like that. So we really be, you know, this is like what they call that. It's like Tuesday night at the Improv or something like that. So we just be really going at it. So tonight's topic, when I got it, what is it again? Social ills, addressing social ills. And, you know, as I was pondering over it, you know, I was like, man, where do you start with societal? Is it social ills or societal ills?
Same
Well,
thing.
yeah, same thing. So I was like, where do you start with so many societal ills that we're faced with? And, you know, as we try to overcome some, then there's like a new one developing, you know, like every month, you know. And, you know, we're just up against so much, you know. And I mean, I for me personally, I just kind of chalk it up, you know, these are, you know, alama to sa'a, you know, these are signs of the times, you know. We just in the end times, and a lot of the stuff that we see, it just it shows us the truthfulness of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam conveying the message and telling us all of these things that will come to pass. So every time you hear about these ills in society and things that's happening, some of it seems like it's unbelievable. But then when you think about it deeply, like, man, you know, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, yeah, he told us about this stuff, man. Like, and I'm not really amazed by any of it, man. It's almost like I'm just waiting, man, for or Jumu'ah, you know, we wait for this thing to wrap up, man. So, but I mean, we got a lot of ills we need to address, and just one of them is really how we kind of counter it is really keeping our hearts together, you know, and just trying to support each other when we can, because we got so many things, and some of us in our journey, we've seen some of this stuff turn around, and seeing some of this stuff with the newer generation. Wow, man, you know, it's like it can make you lose hope, you know. And like Imam Luqman said, I'm in an area where you see it every day, man. Like both Muslim and non-Muslim, you know. You know, it's like how do you deal, for instance, with a brother who he come for Fajr prayer. I mean, he's high out of his mind, but he has enough sense to know that he has to pray Fajr in the Masjid, you know. Like, how do you tell, like, listen, man, you can't pray in that state, man, you know. But as recitation is good, you know, his wudu is perfect. I mean, he's making dhikr, but he's high as a kite, you know what I mean? It's like, what do? You know? And it's like, but you know, all the same people who don't get high, they not showing up for Fajr. You know? So man, it's like so many ills. You know, we just have to really you know, i'tisam, man, you know, just holding on. You know, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us. Amin.
Amin. All right, Sheikh Amin, what's your take on it? Because you definitely in the trenches there with the. Yeah.
I think there are several things that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. I think there's several things that we need to look at. And I think we talked about them, but I think sometimes we talk about things and we don't collectively work on the solution. We expect that our leaders, whether they be imams, whether they be community leaders, are going to solve all our problems without our participation. And I just don't think that's going to happen. Matter of fact, it's proven not to happen. So there's got to be a complete engagement of our entire community. The leaders, people in the community, business people, educators, mental health people, professionals. We need everybody to engage. One of the things that if I could think of how we can start dealing with these ills, I have a saying, and this is my thing. whatever affects black people as a whole affects black Muslims, and add a little bit more problem just because we Muslims and think we ain't affected. So whatever we're dealing with as a people in the society, we as Muslims are dealing with the same thing. But we act like because we Muslims, we ain't dealing with it. So that's part of the problem in this of itself, not realizing that your situation is still the same. And then I think the biggest problem with us is we're a bunch of nobody can tell me what to do. As a group, no one tells me what to do. The leaders are like that. The followers are like that. The whole group is no one tells me what to do. And as soon as someone tries to legislate over us or guide us or instruct us, we go into our Negro bag, right? And I'm quite sure all of us have seen this as leaders. And we know that's true. So I think it's kind of time for us to realize that, listen, we got issues we need to work on, and we all got to play a part in solving them. So I think that's me open. And the second thing, and I'll just stop with this one, we got to learn how to disagree without being disagreeable. We got to learn to disagree without being disagreeable, right? And not because I disagree with you, let me take my ball and run and leave you on the playground by yourself. That's my opening input.
Alhamdulillah, jazakallah khairan. And just but judging by Imam's statements, you wouldn't know that an hour ago him and I was duking on Facebook. Him and I was going back and forth. But that's what. So no, but alhamdulillah. But you know, I'm gonna put this out here. Because I've been giving this a lot of thought over the years and written a lot about it, and I'm sure you have been giving a lot of thought too. And so we're talking about Imam's approaches, okay, and different Imams. This is why we are a collective of Imams here. We're trying to work together and understand each other and deal with issues. When we come on this forum, we're basically discussing issues collectively because we're all different. We all have different approaches, and all of our approaches are needed. And that's one of the things I think that in moving forward, especially for Black American Muslims, that it's no longer about the one Imam anymore. It's about collectives of Imams. It's about teams of Imams, even if there's a head. But it was always about teamwork, even back during the time of the Prophet, alayhi salam, during the Khulafa Rashidin, any period of Islam that you take out of history, you're always going to see a team. History may remember the one guy, the one Imam, the one Khalifa, maybe. But it was always a team effort of people doing things. And so a few things we have to look at. I'm going to take a couple minutes to go over that, right? I kind of whittled it down from my perspective to key issues, because you can't solve everything. But if you can start to attack some foundational things, then you can maybe, inshallah ta'ala, see a way forward. One is congregation. And by congregation, okay, we know we're going to be online mostly for the next, I don't know, next year, maybe more. We don't know what's going to happen with this pandemic. And we were already leaning that way before the pandemic. A lot of Muslims are online now. Their interaction is online. But you still have Imams online. You still have physical communities. So at some point, especially knowing prophetic tradition, knowing a hadith about the last days, the trials of the last days you're living in, at some point we have to really go completely congregational if you're going to be involved in the struggle. If you want to be part of the solution in any capacity, because you're one self as a Muslim, if living in Wisconsin, Ohio, somewhere along the Northeast corridor, wherever you live, you're one self, not connected to any jama'ah, not connected to any man. You're one self. You're going to be largely unaffected. You may have an influence on 5 people, maybe even more. You may even have an organization, but you're going to be nowhere near as effective as if you were part of a collective, jama'ah. And the jama'ah and the congregation is the organizational foundation of civilizational Islam. It always has been. It was during the time of the Prophet, and it will always be. And when you don't have jama'ah, then you're not going to see civilizational movement, no matter what. There's nothing you can do. There's no amount of dua. You're just not going to move because you don't have the amr of the Muslimin, the affair, the control, if you will. But the affair, the buck in Islam, the buck has to stop somewhere. That's just part of our Sharia. That's part of usul, of the foundation of Islam. The buck has to stop somewhere, right? Allah says, وَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ فَرُدُّوهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. If you differ in something, refer it to Allah and His Messenger. There has to be some end. Male and female having disagreements in the marriage, also فَبْعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. Get a judge from his family, a judge from her family. In divorce, إِذَا طَلَقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَطَلِّقُوهُنَّ لِعِدَّتِهِنَّ. If you divorce women, divorce them to the iddah. And after that is over, if you buy, you have taradi bayna name. You buy, sell. Okay, when is it over? When the buyer's happy, seller's happy, sale is over. Everything has its ajr. And that is how Islam works in any civilization, which is why you have to have leaders, why you have to have congregations, why you have to have some sort of governance. And so governance is going to start at the Jama'ah. I mean, now we may have a bad experience with imams in the past. I don't know. Some people have, some people haven't. But imams nowadays, at least I can speak for the brothers here, they're much more sophisticated, much more knowledgeable in the religion, have much more access to counsel, knowledge, much more experience coming to the game. Years ago, you go back 30, 40 years, imam might come into the game. He may be just new in Islam. There's no references. There's no internet. There's no counsel. There's nothing. He may be the only one in his neighborhood. He found a book about Islam, and many imams started like that. So it was different. There was no universal presence, no international presence. It's a different story now. So sometimes people are complaining about old script. So you have to have jama'ah. You have to have something called a bay'ah. People don't like the word the bay'ah because the word bay'ah has been demonized. Bay'ah, oh my God. But you have bay'ah with your bank, you have bay'ah with your cable company. If you got a subscription to Netflix, you got bay'ah with Netflix. If you got 2-year contract agreement with AT&T for your cell phone, you got a bay'ah with AT&T. They'll tell you right there. They'll tell you. If you read the fine print, you are agreeing to this. Check here. You are saying if you cancel before this 2 years, you have to pay all the back for that free iPhone you got. You got to pay the other $800 and something. That is called a bay'ah. And so you have to have those sort of things. And then once you have that, then you're not talking individual. Then you're talking, and see, what we're showing here right now, like Imam said, is that we're imams, we disagree, but so what? No big deal. It really ain't no big deal when I go back and forth with the Imam. I mean, he get on my nerves, I have to check his butt. And he come back, and all right, but that's his life. To us, that's just life. That don't mean nothing. But people can see that. So at least we're learning something, right? But you have to have that. You have to have a certain amount of trust. And then that is the very prescription that the Prophet ﷺ made in the hadith of Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman, the long hadith in Sahih Bukhari, when Hudayfa asked me, Ya Rasulullah, what should I do if I'm living during this time? He said, find a just imam. And the reason why he mentioned just as opposed to pious, because justice is required for governance. I see, Imam, you want to say something? Oh, okay. So just to close that out, because I want to hear what people have to say and answer a couple of questions, is that like anything else, Islam is methodology. And if you don't follow specific methodology, like if you don't make ghusl after you go into the state of najas, if you don't make ghusl, you cannot make prayer. Your prayer's not good without ghusl or tayammum. And if you don't have Allahu Akbar, that's if you don't start with you don't inaugurate your prayer. If you don't say Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, you still in salat, dude. Yeah, everything has to have a conclusionary point in Islam. That is the foundation of our religion. That's the foundation of everything. Has to have some. Even in hadith, you have isnad. Where does the hadith stop? Does it go all the way to the Prophet? Is it mawquf? Does it stop right here? Is it mursal? Is it where's it stop? Where it start? Where's the isnad? Where's the chain? Chain starts here. Where does it end? It's over here. That's Islam. So when you have a lot of individual Muslims all over the country, everybody got something to say. You're not getting that. Then that also goes back to the hadith, because we are people of we are Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. We follow hadith, man. We are people of Sunnah and Jama'ah. Ain't no thing. I'm just come on, for real. I mean, we are people. We follow Quran and Sunnah, and so even understanding the Sunnah and the Hadith about our time. One of the questions that was asked of the Prophet about Muslims during this time, he said, "Are they? Is it because they're lower numbers? I'm in Latin, ya Rasulullah. Is it because they're small numbers?" The Prophet said, "No. Hum yoma idin kathirun, walakinnahum ghutha'un kaghutha'u sayl." He said there'll be a lot of Muslims, but they'll be like the suds on the ocean, and that's exactly what social media looks like, because it's suds on the ocean that you're not really. There's no substance there. It's just suds, and when it sink in, it just goes to nothing. So we have a lot of Muslims. Not less and less. I'm talking about Black American Muslim Islam. We have a lot of Muslims, but they're not. But the way that Islam works, you take those numbers and you funnel them. It has to be funneled. It's always worked that way. It was doing that way during the time of the Prophet. And always foundational stuff. In the first Bay'at al-Aqaba, the first Bay'at, when the Prophet made this is before Hijrah, before anything. They still had to make a bay'ah with the Prophet ﷺ. And you know what the bay'ah was? It was don't associate with partners with Allah, don't steal, don't fornicate, don't cause fitna. That's the Prophet made bay'ah, because that kind of stuff was going on then. Because they had Jahiliyyah then too. They had Jahiliyyah in Medina. They had Jahiliyyah in Mecca. So the first thing the Prophet said, okay, listen, for y'all to get together, first thing, no shirk. Second thing, no stealing. No stealing, because they were people. Third, no fornication. That's why we emphasize marriage now, because marriage, hopefully, is an ever marriage. Bismillah, inshallah. But it don't always work out like that. It didn't always work out like that with during the time of the Prophet. It didn't. But there was a certain amount of attention paid to marriage and changed to rearing the children. So it was common during the time of the Prophet and during those times that a child may have several fatherly figures. He got his father, he got his father's brother, he got this dude over here who fight with it. So I'm saying, if you have bay'ah, if you have jama'ah, if you have counsel with imams, and you have, like I heard one of the imams say, every Imam Naim saying, people present and accounted for, then because of the nature of us as Black American Muslims, our nature, we jump on the bandwagon, man. You jump on the band. People say, oh man, where am I? You ain't in the Jamaat. No, seriously. That's what everybody uses. Christians use that. These doggone GOP uses that. Democrats use that. Republic people use that. The white supremacists use that. The militia groups, they got a bunch of militia groups here in Michigan, man. They got the president, vice president, treasurer, council. They got, they'll have hundreds of people in this one militia, and they all paying $50 a month, $15 a month, $10 a month dues. So now they got militia going on. I'm telling you, this stuff happens close to where I live. They train, they ready, they got their spokesmen. Some have political people, all that. They still have a jama'ah, white supremacists. they still have groups. The organization are registered. Some of them are nonprofit. They buy weapons. They got. I'm serious. So I'm saying in Islam, as Muslims, and this is my view, wallahu, that we're operating pretty much as a mob. Now we're trying to come out of mobism. We're having to. I think like the roundtable that we have, and I'm sure some other imams may have them too. I don't know of any, but the roundtables we have. Just I was saying to Imam Amin, just the conversation alone is moving us forward. We don't have what we want, but just the fact that we're having conversations every week, that consistency, and the Prophet said, the best deeds are the most consistent. The fact that we're doing that, and so if there's anything that I want to communicate to the people, is this is what we're talking about. It doesn't happen overnight, but this is what you want. You want to take your numbers and you want to funnel them. Islam is all about funnel. If you look at the way that the salat looks, it looks something like a funnel. You have the Imam, and then you have the rows. The Imam, rows. Angels move, head, rows. Everything is head, rows. The Prophet ﷺ, when he sent any establishment, okay, you the Amir, something happened to you, he's the Amir, something happened to you, he's the Amir, God be the Amir. There's three of y'all, somebody need to be in charge. At no point, that's why this transfer of power thing was such a big important issue in our country. You cannot have a situation in America where they don't know who's in charge. I know the Trump messing it up, but there has to be somebody. Islam is like that. The buck has to stop somewhere. The buck just can't be flowing everywhere. Where the buck at? I don't know. Who's in charge? Oh no, you can't do that. And that's the situation that we have. And so if we understand that and move towards it, like I said, it's not an overnight deal. But if we move towards that, wallahu alam, I think that really would help solve some problems. Because if you look at history, a lot of Muslims don't know the history. History is a hard topic anyway. A lot of us don't know the history. If you want to know how a community is moving, you look at least 23 years, because that's the length of the prophetic mission. 23 years. 23 years, he went from Iqra, Bismi Rabbika alladhi khalaq, to Hal balagh Allahumma shahid. That was it. That was a closure. When the Prophet said that at the farewell Hajj, Allah have I given the message, bear witness, and they all start sending these verses down. On this day I perfected your religion. That means that was closure right there. When Surah Nas was revealed, that was closure. That was like, okay, you about done. You're finished. You start the mission, did that, made Hijra, all these war battles. It's over now. You are done. Boom. And so we have to have that as Muslim Americans. Has to be some beginning, some end, man. Gotta be, okay, where we stop? Who stopped? Who making left? Who's on first? Who's second? Who's batter up? Whose turn is it? That's the only way I can see it. I mean, I've written about that, and I really believe that. So I don't want to do all the talking, bro. You know I will, though. No, seriously. No, but you know what? Jazakallah khair to Imam Amin.
Ajibun Garibun.
No, listen, brother, I'm gonna tell you something, but I really love you for the sake of Allah. I'm gonna tell you why. I other reasons why too.
I know why you love me, because I ain't scared of you. And you can't bully me around.
You push back, but I'm gonna tell you why I love this brother. I just want to put it out there. Seriously. And the law said, the Prophet said, if you love somebody, tell him you love him. I really love this brother. I'm gonna tell you why. I come at him sometimes. He come at me, and I come at him, boom, 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 boom. In a way that most brothers like, oh man, I'm taking my marbles and I'm going home. And this brother right here, man, he come back, boom, 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 boom. Right? And so we just had a little, not even an argument. We were going back and forth in a way that if you look at it from the outside, you would say, man, these niggas, right? No, seriously, if you look at it from the outside, you say, man, look at him, man, going back crazy. You know what I mean? They going at it, right? It from the outside, but that's us, right? But even when we got on here, he said, man, I want you to host the show. Seriously. That's like character right there. That's what's called code, y'all. code. That's called Muslim code amongst brethren. Even if we think something is slipping, we're going to just come back and throw something up in there. It ain't even like that, man. I love you for that. Serious, man. I seriously love you for that. You know, that's I hate to say it's my nigga. That's my nigga right there, y'all. For real. I'm telling you. If I would have to roll with somebody for some real stuff, I'd call this dude right here, man. For real. Seriously. He ain't scared. And he a good teacher too.
If we got to roll, don't worry, Imam. I'm gonna put you about 2 blocks down the street, give you a radio, and tell you if it gets.
Hey man, I got you. I got crew too.
I'm messing with you. Who's next, Imam? Luqman,
okay,
you pass the
I
mic
want to
to.
hear from the Imam Naeem or Imam Faheem because Imam Naeem, go ahead.
When you running the show,
what you guys say about it. So I know this is stuff you thought about and you create too.
I'm looking at this question down here. How are we going to address the breakdown of the families and family structure? And while you talking about it, while you were talking, I was thinking, of my own family. I have a large family. I'm thinking about, people in my community, experiences in the past. And a lot of times we talk about the breakdown of the family as if there's some force attacking it from the outside. And it is. But from my experience, I think the most harm that comes to our families are from inside the families themselves. For example, when a brother, even before you get to the marriage, our situation is so dire that a lot of times the marriage itself isn't even valid. Like a lot of times, there's countless situations where a sister is technically still married Islamically to the previous husband. So you got that type of, situation going on, which obviously is not valid. So there ain't gonna be no blessings in it, right? But assuming that the marriage is valid and everything like this, right? Because there's no enforcement that we have nowadays. Like Imam Amin says, you can't tell me what to do. Like you said, everybody is deep how you said that. Everybody does that. Imams do that, followers do that, husbands do that, wives do that, mothers do that, children do that. Everybody's doing that. Everybody's doing that. And so you'll have a situation where, for example, a divorce happens or a divorce is impending. There's going to be a split, in the family. And most of us, we don't even begin to talk about, Islamic child custody procedures. Who gets custody? Because 9 times out of 10 in our society, the default, support of the court system goes with the woman 9 times out of 10. So, talking about custody, like sister, Islamically, you got married again. Maybe you should turn over the custody. She's like, man, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. These my kids. I'm keeping my kids, right? And so you have situations like that. Even we talking about wilaya, like who's gonna be the wali of the sister? If you like, one of us where we have protocols in place where, you just ain't going to shack up with a sister. What does the average sister do? All right, I'm going to fire the imam and I'm going to go to somebody else to be my wali. And a lot of times we don't even get the courtesy of knowing that we've been fired. We just hear about the wedding on Facebook. Like, what, subhanAllah, sister such, I'm her wali. Let me inbox the sister. What's going on? How you get married? Oh, I fired you. You ain't know? No, I ain't know. You ain't tell me. Right? Nobody can tell me what to do, right? And so I can give example after example of how, men, women, and children in the context of family destroy their own family from inside without any help from outside. And then a lot of times we talk about, how we're going to help the breakdown of the family. People have to be willing and because nobody's forcing us. If you decide not to follow Islamic law, nobody's going to force you. Like, for example, like I'm in Gambia, which is technically not an Islamic country, but let a child go to the police and say, you know, my dad spanked me for whatever reason. The police is going to verify, and then the police is going to spank the kid. Literally. And he might spend a night in jail until he learn how to respect his father, and then get sent back home. So even in this non-Muslim country with a lot of Muslims in it, there are a lot of aspects of it where, you know, the state apparatus will enforce, you know, the cultural norms, which in a lot of cases is Islam. We don't have that in America. When somebody wants to renegade against Islam and do what they want to do, 9 times out of 10, the state apparatus will support them and help destroy the family. So, you know, I know that's not an answer because it's not a simple answer. I don't have all the answers, but one thing that it takes the voluntary participation of the Muslims. You know, you can't say, you know, I'm Muslim and I'm going to follow all the laws of Islam, except when it goes against my nafs and I want to do what I want to do. You can't have that. You have to submit all the way, you know. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu dkhulu fi silmi kafa wa la tattabi'u khutuwati shaitan innahu lakum aduwwun mubin. O you who believe, come into Islam kafatan, all the way, wholeheartedly, completely, not halfway, and do not follow the footsteps of the devil, because he is the man an open enemy. A lot of us, we just doing it halfway, and we wonder why we get half results, or our institutions are breaking down, because we're not doing it all the way. We're doing it halfway. You know, alhamdulillah.
Imam, Faheem?
Yeah, that question. How do we deal with the breakdown of this family structure? Yeah, I mean, it's a lot we got to do. But we gotta realize what a functioning family structure is first. You know, I think a lot of us have been deprived of that. You know, being, you know, coming from, you know, generational like dysfunction. You know, and then we come into the deen for those who are converts or reverts, and you know, we read about these stories about, you know, how the Prophet ﷺ was with his wives and how the husbands were, and you know, people rarely divorce, and you know, we have a hard time really putting all of that down. But one of the ways is that we got to reinstate the man in the family. You know, one of the solutions is going to be, brothers taking more than one wife. You know, that's going to be a big solution. I'm talking about men. You know, men who can be able to handle families, you know, not just get married to more than one woman, be able to handle families, you know. That's going to be a necessity going forward. And building our communities, you know, we got to get back to moving together, working together, living together, doing business together, marrying our children off to each other, you know. We've let a lot of this stuff go past in pursuit of some type of, you know, American dream that they sold us. You know, that we grow up, we earn an education, we move out the hood. You know, we go live in places that they don't want us, and we made it. You know, and we consider living beyond our means and above our pay grade just to say we don't live in the hood, or just not to appear to be, you know, impoverished. You know what I mean? And a lot of us, we're doing that. You know what I mean? We need to get back to living together and being a community. You know, that's going to be a big part of it going forward. I mean, like really doing it. You know what I mean? And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us.
I reserve my time. I'm going to take just as much time as you take.
Brother, go ahead, bro. He makes a good point.
Honestly, seriously, I want to go back to Sister Sophia's question. How are we going to solve the breakdown in the family issue? And I think I got to go back to what I was saying. We got to stop living on Fantasy Island, right? And I mean that. We have to get off Fantasy Island. That was a TV show, not real life. And what do I mean by that? Our understanding of Islam as a people is flawed, big time. It has no structure. It has no methodology. It has no format. It is what Imam Luqman says, the Wild Wild West. And that's real. You will have people, and let's be honest with ourselves. You haven't studied 1 month of Islam sitting with a teacher learning. A lot of people. But you come talking about what is Islam and what is not. You never studied, ever. Not even 1 month worth of studying with a teacher ensuring your understanding of Islam was correct. But you giving judgments. Stuff that it would take scholars years to talk about. I'm being honest, right? And then you say, I think. You haven't even learned how to think, let alone to talk about I think, right? There is a way to think. Sometimes our thinking is flawed. It doesn't even fit in the Islamic concept. We're thinking from the state of our period of ignorance, right? You think, but you didn't even think how to learn how to pray properly. But you're thinking about how to run a society. You don't even know how to pray. That's serious. Like you don't even know how to worship Allah regularly 5 times a day, but you're going to tell me how to run a society based on Allah's rules. That's just not logic. That's not logic from one point. And I'm not criticizing. I'm just speaking of a reality. Now, so this same person who hasn't learned, doesn't know how to pray, is going to now tell you how to raise an Islamic family. How that's going to work. So you're going to say, what is Islam? What is haram? What is halal? And you never studied a section in any formalized, structured learning environment about the rules of marriage. You don't know the rules of marriage. You're guessing. You read 2, 3 verses of the Quran, 4 or 5 hadith, and you making judgments about marriage, which is a whole chapter in fiqh with a lot of rules and cases and exceptions and details. And you're talking about the rules of marriage. Let's be honest. Many of the sisters, and I'm going to get to the brothers, so sisters don't jump on me. Just follow me. We're talking about family because you're not going to have a Jamaat, Imam Luqman. You're not going to have Bayat. You're not going to have Ahad. You're not going to have none of that until you got families, right? No family, no Jamaat, period. So you want to have an Imam and leadership with no families, forget about it. It's never going to happen. You're going to be a cowboy, a leader by yourself with a bunch of rebels. You're not going to have a community. All right, so family structure. Now, if we're going to talk about family structure, most of the sisters who get married, who haven't learned, they think with this mindset, where's my maintenance? That's the deen. You know, give me my maintenance. That's all marriage is about, maintenance. I'm giving you relations, you give me maintenance. Translation, what means in the society we know, that's prostitute and John relationship. The prostitute gives relations, the John gives maintenance.
Are you talking about hoes?
You can use the term you want. I'm using the one more Imam Amin term. You got Imam Luqman terms. But that's the understanding. So, and then the relationship becomes the man goes, I'm giving you maintenance, and now I'm your boss, and I'm your for the night and for the week, and you do what I say. That's not marriage. That's not marriage at all, period. And that's why so many marriages collapse, because they're built like that. That's how people go into them. That's just a part of it, right? So the concept of marriage is messed up. Let's move to the men. Move to the men. I got on this live right now at least 10 sisters who are looking for a husband and can't find one. Some of them be looking for husbands for 10 years. Black women. I got at least 10 right live right now that contact me regular, looking for a husband, looking for a man for their children to support and educate and mentor. And you know what I gotta tell them? I don't know no men like that, sis. I'm sorry. You Imam and you teach and you give class. Sis, I don't know no men like that. Because the men I know, a lot of them are shallow. You're not pretty enough. You got too many kids. He wants a fun girl. He don't want a wife. He wants someone to, you know, enjoy. He don't want no responsibilities. That's what I see. And by the way, if some brothers, shameless plug, if some brothers want more than a girlfriend in the name of Islam, as some Negroes say, Islamic girlfriend, if you want a wife, and there's some serious sisters who are looking for a husband, so you can contact me and I can put a good sister with a good brother so we can build a good family. That's my shameless plug. So sisters, I am trying, but I don't know how many answers I'm going to get. But so this is real stuff. Until we fix that, our understanding of marriage, our understanding of family, right? We're not getting to that other stuff. So we might as well stop on that fantasy island. We're going to get this ideal community. Nah. And lastly, I'm going to stop. The family thing, most of us didn't come up. Too many of us. I won't say most because that's too comprehensive and reaching. I don't know everybody. But too many of us never saw a functional Islamic family. We don't even know what it looks like. We have no idea. What does a functional Islamic family look like in the Black community in America? Most of us have no idea. We've not seen it. And if we only can point to a few, but I want to ask a question. I'm going to ask a question and I'll stop. But I need the community. Background. Can I ask the people inside in there? There's over 70 people. I want to ask you a question. How many of you can name? You don't have to name them. I just want a yes or no. Yes meaning I can, no meaning I can't. How many of you can name 10 African American sound wife, husband, children, function in the masjid, attend the prayers, kids active in the masjid, husband active in the masjid, wife active in the masjid? How many of you can name 10 families like that? And don't be shy. You can just say, yes, I can name 10. No, I can't. Yes or no. Let me just take a survey quickly. That's what they do, right? They survey, right? Give me 10. 10 families, and don't play games. 10 African-American husband, wife, children, all functioning in the masjid, all active in the Islamic community, all do the work, and they are supporting the community, building the community. 10 families in your area. 10. So I got one yes so far. So as we're looking, y'all seeing it too, right? Right? And I'm talking about in the same masjid. And I ain't talking about in different communities, you're a roamer. I'm talking about in one community, everybody's functioning. Right? Everybody, the kids, the husband, the wife, they're all involved in the Islamic, in the masjid, in the community, 10 families. But not in one area, in one masjid. I ain't talking about all around, in one masjid. So here's the point. We're looking at very few. So I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It does exist. And I would question if we really put the criteria on it. So that means we got to fix families. But now we got to ask ourselves, why is it like that? That's the question. This is not a criticism. Right? Why is it like that? And what do we got to do to fix it? That's the question. And I need the people that's listening, come on, give us some stuff. We're here. We're trying to talk. Put it in. We need your suggestions. How are we going to fix it? What needs to happen? You're a mother. You're a husband. You are involved. You're a single sister. You're a single brother. What do we need to do to repair this problem? Why are you like that? Right? Why are we like that? What we doing wrong? And that's a question, and inshallah, it can frame so we can start solving. That's it for me.
Okay, and alhamdulillah, and hopefully we'll get some responses. There are a couple answers to the question. I mean, they're not easy answers. That's why we're having this conversation. Number one, any solution that you're going to see on the ground with Black American Muslim, with Islamic Black Muslim America, it's going to take about a generation. There's no way getting around that. Because we are 2 generations into the problem, and the problem is redundant. It's the same thing going over and over again. You know, one, without generational continuity, and generational continuity is when you were Muslim, alhamdulillah. You get married, maybe you marry more than once. Maybe you got several wives, okay? But anyway, children out of that marriage or those marriages or those polygamous situations, that the bulk of the children, if not all, the bulk of the children, the bulk of them grow up, and when they become adults, they're still Muslim. Not perfect Muslim, maybe real good Muslim, maybe between, maybe just, have issues, but I'm Muslim. I'm still getting prayers in, maybe not doing all. Those children are Muslim. Out of that single person that became Muslim, Muslim, those children, they have children. And their children, by and large, the bulk of them, if not all of them, most of them, or a great many of them, they are Muslim. They are Muslim. They're good. They go to the masjid, maybe not perfectly, okay, but maybe, they're not studying as much because they were raised Muslim. People who were raised Muslim tend to not do as much studying because they follow what their parents taught them, but they're Muslim. Then you have generational continuity. So when you have generational continuity, and this is scientific stuff here, even people like Ibn Abi Dunya, people like Abu Hassan al-Mawardi, I mean, Muslim scholars have talked about this. Ibn Khaldun, they talk about it because it's layers of bonding, layers of where you're connected. So when you start seeing a second, third generation, and then you see Islam in your family. By that time, in your family alone, forget anybody else, in your own immediate family, you'll start to have 30, 40, 50 Muslims and practicing pretty much the same religion. Pretty much, I remember a time I used to only see my brothers on Juma. We lived different places, but we prayed the same masjid. So you start to see that that takes about at least a generation to kick in. When you don't do that, when you do not, when that does not happen, then that means that Islam is with you. It lives with you, dies with you. Children aren't Muslim, grandchildren aren't Muslim, daughter ain't Muslim, daughter married some non-Muslim dude, son got kids, they're out of it. So the whole idea of Khalifaship, that's why the Prophet said, Azawiju al-Wadud al-Walud for any makathirun bikum yawm al-qiyamah. Marry, fertile women who are easily, who are friendly. But the purpose was to have a lot of children. I'm just saying one sentence. So when you don't have that generational continuity, and this is like it's science. We don't have that, okay? And there's ways to maintain that. There's a whole different thing. But Jama'ah has a lot to do with it, because when you don't have it, then it's like you have a car, you have an engine, but you don't have any wheels. But you got a damn good engine, but no wheels, and it's a beautiful car. Got all the leather seating and everything, but you don't have an engine. So the whole idea is that when you don't have an engine or don't have wheels, so you need generation. Now the Prophet himself, they practiced that heavy. Before Islam, after Islam, they practiced it heavy within Islam. If you read our history, you look at who, during the time of Abu Bakr, go to the time of Uthman, even who were the people who were running things? They were people who were sons, nephews, daughters of companions, daughters of slaves who became companions. It was their children. And who were the trusted people? It was the people of, who the Prophet trusted. So it was, and that's how Muslim civilizations are run. It's everywhere in the planet Earth. It's like that, the same way. Any place you go, Africa. If you're in Gambia, Sheikh. If you talk to the people moving and shaking here, you gonna see, oh, that's my nephew, that's his son, that's my grandpa. You're gonna see all that. That's how. So when the family break down, like Imam was saying, we don't have the marriage thing, right? And then a lot of the marriage is pie in the sky. And that's lastly, I'm just going to answer one question sister had about guardians. Guardians are doing their job. Yeah, you do have situations where guardians aren't doing their job, but really, Islam is law. You just can't make it any other kind of way. Islam is following a set of ideology, but on the ground, it's the law. It's the law. Regardless of the ideology, it was always law. Even amongst the Shia, even amongst like Ibadiyya, even amongst the Fatimids, it was still a law. Even amongst the Ottomans, it's still law. They were Hanafi. It didn't matter what madhab you were, what Aqidah you was. It didn't matter. I mean, that matters in your head, but on the ground, it's the law. They didn't care what kind of Aqidah you are. I don't care what Aqidah you are. This is the law. The train has to run. So when you don't have law, you have lawlessness, and that's pretty much what we have in Black Muslim America. It might be well out, but there's ways out of it, though. Sheikh, you had something to say, man?
No, I'm just saying, please, because we're acting right. And one thing we just try to be careful. It's natural. We got mountains of things we got to deal with, right? But let us try to listen to what the people saying, and let us try to think about it, because we're going to be responsible for trying to solve these things, right? Or formulating groups that's going to solve these things. So let's try to look at the comment and see how we can engage the people. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, I saw somebody who kept saying contact them. You put your number up again. I didn't know who you were, but I'm just saying. Listen, for people, we want to make it simple. That's part of our job, And when I say part of our job, as an imam myself, yeah, I have to listen to people, and I do try to listen to people. And don't take it wrong when I act imami, because I'm an imam. I've been an imam for a long time. My Islam is probably the worst of Islam and all that, but I'm an imam still. I'm an imam. I'm a professional imam for a long time, like other imams here. So a lot of times as imam, Our job is to say, okay, here's what you need to do. Do this. We want to listen. Yeah, our job is to listen, but Imam's job is to listen to counsel and to listen to complaints. I'm more likely to listen to somebody complaining. You're complaining, especially about me. I want to know what you guys say, especially if it's Zoom. But part of the Imam's job is to listen. This is the way it goes. And it's not always about how good an Imam is. We had some of the best Imams who had no followers at all. We had some of the best prophets, prophets themselves. In fact, most prophets didn't have followers. Musa alayhi salam was a great prophet who was giving miracles. And Allah said, with qala Musa liqawmi, ya qawmi, lima tu'dhunani wa qad ta'lamuna anni rasulullah. He said, oh my people, why y'all causing me grief? Y'all know I'm the prophet. Yeah, we know you, we gonna worship this cat. So, but I think for the convert community in America, because there's a lot of people take advantage of us because we are faithful, because we want to do right, man. There's no place on earth I don't know of these days where you have a large group of one demographic coming into Islam, love Islam so much that they're gonna change their name, change their diet, they're gonna wear foreign clothes. Muslim coming to Islam, he wearing Pakistani clothes, African clothes, Saudi clothes, Indian clothes, anything, just because they think it's Islamic. That's how much we love Islam. And people have taken advantage of that. It's something we gotta understand. People have taken advantage of that. We've been ripped off, and so the law, following the law, it helps prevent you from getting ripped off because you're following law. And as long as you're following legitimate law, it could be different madahib, but as long as you're following law in your life as a Muslim, you will have some semblance of stability.
Imam Luqman, the other Imam, y'all gotta jump in because me and Imam Luqman getting ready to start a fight. Because we getting ready to go. So y'all want to jump in, we getting ready to go. So I'm giving y'all the opportunity because he be pushing my buttons, man. And
I'm trying to bring you up. I'm trying to bring you speed, boy. Come on.
So let me get at the Imams, then I'll come get you, Imam Luqman. I got a bone to pick with you. Faheem, Imam Luqman, Imam Naeem.
Yeah, that was a question posted by I think Imam Malik Robinson. He is an Imam, and I think we need to put him on the spot to get him on the show. He hiding in the cut, man.
He's a random Imam. He ain't no real Imam.
But he put up a question a while ago about what do we think about getting professional help for therapy, like depression, and absolutely, I speak for myself. I'm not really qualified to deal with that kind of stuff, and I'm faced with it all the time. People need to get professional help, from people who are, qualified in that field, because I'm just recently had to learn how to figure out what are signs of depression, because I've seen people that got depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenic, and I didn't know the sign, and I deal with it like the black Imam that I am. Man, cut it out, man. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You better sit down somewhere, or however, and they got real problems, and that's not fair to them for me to deal with them like that, and so helping people to get help, man, it's important. So I'm of the view that those people, they're experts in the field, Allah tells in the Quran, "Fasalu ahlu dhikra in kuntum la ta'lamun." Ask the people remembrance if you don't know. Those people are skilled to know how to deal with things, and you just put the Islamic twist on it, and get the help, man, because it's necessary. Allahu Akbar. There was another.
I like to piggyback off of what you just said, Imam Faheem. One thing I've noticed is that a lot of people like that who they're professionals in their field, like psychologists or even activists. People that's plugged into what's going on in the black community and protesting and providing services for the disenfranchised. A lot of our communities, you know, before us, they shun those people. Like, that's not Islam. You know, you can't do that here. So a lot of those people have went and formed institutions of their own. You know, they built their own platform in order to provide the services, because that's what they had the yearning to do, what have you. And so now, you know, with our generation of imams, I think we have to find a way to connect with those people who were shunned by the older generation, because that wasn't Islamic, right? And kind of like partner with them to help use their services or what have you, because there's people in all of these different fields that, you know, they've been doing it for years, they got experience, but maybe sometimes they lack, you know, the Islamic filter. You know, maybe if we could have some type of working arrangement in our localities, we'd be like, okay, well, yeah, we could do that, but that part right there, we maybe can't deal with that. We got to find another way to do that, but we can, you know, we can still work together. And I just wanted to mention that in connection with what you was talking.
Oh yeah, one other thing, man. Alhamdulillah, I know it's a couple like hospitals and stuff that we are connected with, or you know, at least they call me when they have an Islamic patient or something. I mean, we've had instances where, you know, we physically had to, you know, take somebody to, you know, an institution and, you know, listen, come on, I need you to take a ride with me, and pull up at the hospital. You know, like, listen, man, this is where I need you to go at. Oh, I'm not going in there. No, yes, you are. You know what I mean? At this point, there's no option, you know. And then, you know, I had to use other language that I'm not going to use on here, but, you know, y'all know what kind of language I'm talking about. This is Black Imams. Yeah. There's another question.
That Imam Luqman language. Yeah. That
Imam Luqman language, man. There's another one, a question by Abdul Kareem Reed.
That's my nephew, by the way.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. He talked just like you too, man.
Yeah, he the only reason you ain't bust up on this joint, right? Because we got mad love for Kareem.
Right, man. He had a question though. It says, sisters outside the broadcast wants to know how come lots of Orthodox Black Muslim men have such an issue with compassion and affection with their wives. As Black men, do you feel many Muslim men need to learn how to interact with women? Woo! That's
Imam, can I jump on that one?
I just gave my answer. Woo!
I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna preface what I'm going to say. I wasn't always Imam Amin, right? That's the preface, right? Look at Naeem like, where he getting ready to go? No, seriously, I wasn't always Imam Amin. And I'm putting myself out there a little bit, right? So some people that listen may get hurt by what I'm going to say.
Don't hesitate. Go on, say, man. Don't get scared, man. Come on.
I better be smart, bro. I don't just jump out there. I got a little brain on my head, right? I've learned in my old age, right? So some may be hurt by what I'm saying. So don't take it personal, and you don't got to start firing your guns at me, right? But I can speak probably like most of us. Before learning Islam and understanding Islam, it's two different things. And maturing in Islam. So before learning Islam, before understanding Islam, and before maturing Islam, I knew nothing about how to be a man for a woman. Right? Zero. So that means even during my Islam and learning about Islam and understanding it and maturing in it, I was a horrible man to women. That's real. Where I come from, a woman has one purpose and maybe two. And I don't need to say those purposes and then leave me alone. That's the background I come from with women, right? I remember some elders in my community, they came to me and they said to me, they said, Imam, why you got to have all these women? They were talking about having more than one wife. And I looked at them and I was dead serious. I said, I do what I do because that's what Islam necessitates that I do. If it was up to me, without the rules of the religion, I would have 50 women, 50 girlfriends, and no wife, and I had to deal with none of that crap. That was my mindset. You heard what I said? Now I'm putting myself out there. I said if it was up to me and not the rules of the religion, I would have 50 girlfriends, no wife, and not deal with none of that crap. Because from the background I come from, that's a given with brothers. If you come from where I come from, and some of the people, they know me, I'm not exaggerating. You come from where I come from, that's easy. So now go from that to realizing you got to be a responsible man. You got to care about somebody's emotions. She can't be just a hoe. She's your wife. It's not your girlfriend. It's not some broad on the side that just come and you give away. No, this is your wife. She got emotions. She got feelings. You got to take care of all that. And you got to educate her. And you got to provide for her children or your children. Most of us ain't used to that. That's real. So it's a learning experience how to be a good Muslim husband. That's a learning experience that most of us are not man enough to say, I don't know how to do that. I've never learned it. No one taught me when my wife is crying or she's feeling bad or she needs some time to stop crying. That's what I learned. Stop crying. So all you do is complain. She's complaining for a reason, bro. Something you doing wrong. She needs something that you're not giving her. Most of us don't realize that stuff. And no one taught us. So as men, and no man's going to be vulnerable. No male is going to be vulnerable to say, I don't know how to do that. I need to be taught. Right? And one of the happiest things in my life now is that I'm old enough to learn from my mistakes, to realize what I was doing wrong so my marriages don't fall apart. So my wife is not miserable. But I had to learn the hard way. And so did a lot of women in my life learn the hard way for me trying to learn. A lot of brothers got the same problem. So first of all, you talking about people need counseling? A lot of us men who are grown men need counseling, need mentoring, need all that stuff, just as our women do. So there's a lot of healing to be done on all aspects, right? A lot of it. But guess what? And I'll be honest with you, we don't got a lot of people that can show us that, right? We don't got a lot of people that's even going to take the time to say, listen, bro, you screwing this all up. You really screwing this up. No one's going to say that. In fact, we're around people because we got the boys club. Oh, man, tell that sister stop whining. Even some of the people, you know, they talked about the women. Tell that bent, stop crying. What you just say? Tell that bent, stop crying. You know what he really mean by that? He don't mean bent. He got another B for that woman. That's what he's really saying. Bent, what are you talking about? That's my wife. But some of the brothers, yeah, that's right, man. Been always crying. Oh, notice I'm saying these are serious issues. It hurt. It's real. But guess what? I wouldn't like no man to treat my daughter like I've treated women. I wouldn't want no man, I wouldn't allow no man to treat my daughter like I treated some women. But I learned that the hard way. Are we making a platform where young brothers and young sisters don't have to learn the hard way? Are we doing that? Or are we repeating a vicious cycle? So I think there is some red table stuff that we got to really have. Now, I went out on the line, trust me. But maybe by me going out on the line, some others will realize part of our problem in that issue. Trust me.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, so and guess what? And don't take it lightly, because I know some people right here, they heard what I just said, and they're gonna hurt tonight. They've been hurting, and they're gonna hurt, and they're gonna remember. Now you remember, Joker. Now you pay attention. Yeah, but no one helped me pay attention before I made my mistakes. Real stuff. I hate to say
we got a new topic.
I hate to say it, and let me tell you something. As Imam Amin, if I was on Negro time, bad as these women are, those women would be treated worse, right? Because they're vulnerable. And you got a lot of brothers who haven't matured, and they're looking for those vulnerable women to fill their desires and to, right? As sisters come to me, you're a good brother. You can have another wife. No, I can't, and I ain't a good brother. I'm working on that. And just to be a good brother, I won't do that to you, right? But how many of us are at that level to admit that, right? All right, sister, mashallah, let's hook this up. And you know damn well, excuse the harsh Luqman language, you ain't ready for your life, bro. You gaming. You a joker. And guess what? Unfortunately, you're going to go to Brother Imam, who know you a joker, and he going to hook it up. Let's right up. We got married sisters. Men marry women, not boys.
Yeah, that is
I hate to go there, but I'm just being honest. Right? And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open my eyes so I don't harm no more black women. And I hope most of us brothers learn that lesson before we destroy all of our women and destroy our children and destroy any potential families that we could have. Serious candidates only.
I'm glad you had the. I'm glad you had the courage to say that. I can't come as clean because my wife is standing right there. No, but this is why we have this conversation, because this is where the rubber has to meet the road, man. Like what you said is very on point, and this goes back again to the taking it out of the fantasy island and put it in reality. In reality, we don't have the resources to deal with our own trauma. We don't even have the people. We don't have the staff. We don't have the facility. We don't have the coordinated access to help our people. We don't. And one of the major causes for that is that you don't have congregation. If you don't have congregation, anything that has to do with civilizational healing, dealing with trauma, dealing with marriage issues, law, if you don't have congregation, none of that is going to jump off. It's impossible. It's not. the idea comes up. Yeah, we need people to do. Yeah, of course. We can't even interface. We can't even interface with our medical psychiatric community professionals that we have our Muslim. Even if they say, okay, man, let's do something. Okay, we don't even have the resources. We don't even have our own clinic. We don't even have the clinical space in our masjid to do that. We don't have the people who to gather data. Like that's the kind of stuff that you need to do when you start to deal with trauma in any realistic way. We don't have the men available to. This is the younger Muslims aren't even connected to the OGs in the Muslim community. There's a disconnect. We lost a generation that you would normally have if you have congregation. You have some connection from the older to the younger, and then when you have congregation, you have family. You have family. Like you said, when you have family, you'd be surprised. And I'm just speaking, I mean, I'm one of thousands of Muslim families, a million Muslim families in the world. Alhamdulillah, I come from a Muslim family, a very large Muslim family. You'd be surprised the number of issues come up within individuals that are filtered out and solved within the family structure. Within the family, you got 4 generations. Like my nephew, or other nephews. You'd be surprised how the family is going to carry the religion when the institutions aren't. That has history. That has always existed, and so. Yeah, we have all these cumulative problems. We're starting to come up, and we're looking at how can we solve these problems. But we have to keep a certain amount of focus on bay'ah, jama'ah, funding, because there's nothing you can do without it. Even churches who deal with this issue, I know pastors who have some of the black problems, and they have it within. But you see the amalgamation of black clinical psychologists with pastors working within the churches. It connects you with the churches, referral systems within the church, even white church, because people understand these are problems. We don't have that. And to do that, you need people, you need money, not a lot of money, but you just can't, you work within the congregation, which is why I dig what you're saying, man. I appreciate you saying that about the women, because a lot of it has to do with having people, I mean, I'm no great husband either. My wife think, right, hey, am I a good husband? She said I'm a good husband. Alhamdulillah, that's the only one I care about right now. Y'all heard it? Hey, honey, they said you don't know me yet. Inshallah, I'm a good husband. What you say, baby? Yeah, she said, yes, I am a good husband. That's a shahada right there, boy. No, listen. We all are still striving to be better men.
Imam, did you just pop your collar? Imam, did you just pop your collar?
I think so. I think I did. Hey, it was an involuntary movement. Hey, wife say I'm a good husband. She make dua for me all the time. Allah Akbar. No, but the thing is, I'm glad we have this conversation, man, because really, that's how it has to start with some kind of kalam. I mean, we can't solve it tonight, but we got to look at the real. We got to look at where, the rubber meets the road. Okay? If Muslims want stuff to happen, man, make bay'ah to an imam. Get in the jama'ah. Then at least you have some kind of context you can work with, whether your sister or brother. Because imams these days, and I know these imams out here, we try to deal with our people to the degree that we can. I mean, I'm in Toledo, man. People will call me, Imam, so-and-so situation. Can I meet you at the masjid? It'd be like 9:30. I'm like, all right, I only live 7 minutes from the masjid. Here I come. Here I come, man. That's what we do, right? But this is a community. Atlantic City, that's a community. I know if you call him Amin 2 o'clock, okay, that's 2 o'clock. At 10:30, I call him at 10:30, he's still up. If he had to get in his car and go out there to help your family, I know he would. I know he would. I know damn well he would, from what I know of him. And I'm sure Imam Faheem. That's what we do. But there has to be some sort of empowerment of your imams. if you're not going to empower your imams, ain't too much going to jump off. That's just the physics of Islam. That's just the physics of Islam. There's nothing you can do about that. So we have to move towards that. I think we got to understand what we're dealing with so that we don't end up in la la land. Because the whole conversation about we need this, we need that, man, we've been saying stuff for 40 years, man. Seriously. We need that. And imams have addressed a lot of issues. Imam, I remember when we started to address as imams, we started to address domestic abuse, different imams around the country. We addressed it. We was kicking niggas' asses. For real. Okay, we were kicking their butts. So, hey.
I thought you promised your wife you're gonna stop cussing.
Ass is not really a curse word.
Yes, it is. In our language. No more from Imam.
Okay, but we tried to deal. Hey, both my excreta, man. No, I'm just saying that imams are different than imams of yesterday. Most imams that I know are sincere. They're trying to do the best they can with people who don't want to be led or told what to do. And we have to cut back on some of that. If the imam has you doing wrong, then you say something. Then you know, imam, I'm not robbing no bank. I'm not doing. But most imams that I know, and I know a lot of imams, I don't know any imam that I don't have no respect for. Imam, they're respectable imams. They're trying to do the best they can, but most of them don't have the resources. Immigrant community, on the other hand, of course, it's a different demographic, different education, income, and all that kind of stuff. But over the last 30 years, you can see where they have made progressive changes. You can see where they say, okay, this is the problem. Oh, okay, well, this is the problem. We got to do something about that. Well, let's throw some resources towards that so we can get better with that. And if you get that, they've seen it. I've seen that. I mean, we have immigrants in our community. We work with different communities. So I'm saying, as Black American Muslims, at some point, you know, we have to get down to the nitty gritty and follow some sort of civilizational path. You know, now it's not all our fault. Everybody's honest. Everybody trying to get our money. People use us. Sheikhs and came here, took pictures and everything. Oh, this sheikh, yes, let me take your picture. Yeah. And he go over there, raise money on that picture. We ain't seen none of that money. We don't see the money, man. And there's a lot of money that's pumped into America for dawah, for community, for work, for summer camps, all that kind of stuff, that they just steer themselves away from Black American Muslims, because partially because of racism, partially because we don't have the organizational conduits. We don't have the organizational conduit to receive support. People can't support a bunch of mob. They can support, okay, this community, that community. So everything that I've heard, and I'm really impressed by Imam Amin, because he really keeping that real on the women tip. You know, seriously. I mean, because it's hard. You know, our women have a lot of stuff, and but you can learn that generational continuity again. Generational continuity. You can't, if you have generational continuity, then that young man who don't know how to be a husband, don't know how to be blah blah, don't know how this and that, he can call his uncle Muhammad. He can call his uncle Idris. He can call his grandfather Abdullah. A grandfather, hit me to this stuff I'm going through with this sister. Okay, or her uncle can come. She can call the uncle. Uncle so-and-so, call his father-in-law. His father-in-law, your son over here putting hands on me. Father, I wish one of my daughter-in-laws would call me about my son putting their hands on him. They already know what's going to happen. Though my sons are good husbands, don't get me wrong. They're good husbands, alhamdulillah, good fathers. But if my daughter-in-law got on the phone with me and telling me my son putting hands on her, he already knowing he going to see me. He already know. He knows. He already know Abu coming if I don't send my brother first. Seriously, we don't play that. But you need families. You have to have families. You have to focus, and that's why on the marriage, yeah, you want to have that perfect, symbiotic relationship between male and female. That's not always going to happen. That's a goal. But in the meantime, brothers, Yeah, we have to be good to our wives. That's the sunnah. We have to be attentive to the best we can, but we also got to make a living. We also have to serve the ummah. That is the thing. So it's all that together. So even within the wives, you got to come out of La La Land. I understand. I get it. And listen, my own personal history as an imam, as a Muslim, I've always been against abuse of women. Seriously, I don't play that. I got daughters, I got sisters, man. I wish somebody would abuse one of mine. We don't play that. I'm not good in other areas. Hey, I'm human like everybody else, but I'm saying though that family thing, you can't get around it. And so even within marriage, right, there has to be a certain amount of appreciation for the husband and appreciation for the wife. You can't come into a marriage thinking, "Hey, if I don't get all my emotional needs met, I'm out." That is no. Nobody gets that. Even during the time of the Prophet, it wasn't like that. If you read the Shira, read our history. Sahabas was out, war, dying. Sisters was remarrying. Sahaba, going, where you going? I'm going to war. Did my husband come back? No, he didn't. He ain't make it. Did my brother come back? No. Did my son come back from Uhud, from Hunain, from Khandaq, from Marisiyah? No, he didn't. That it was like this. So yeah, that's what I had to say. Go ahead.
Here's the thing that.
But man, you feel what I'm saying though?
No, I'm with you. I'm saying, but see, here's the thing. What I realized, right? This is my 10th year, going on 11th year as an imam. If we can recite Al-Fatiha for the soul of Imam Khairi Shakur, rahimahullah ta'ala, who was the imam before me, Al-Fatiha.
And you know he was my good friend, right?
MashaAllah.
You know he was tight. Okay, yeah. But congratulations to him, man. Alhamdulillah.
But what I realize is this, and these conversations are things that really we need to discuss behind closed doors, but we will never go behind those closed doors. So the conversations we're having, you know, really, they're a lot, and not everybody can handle dealing with their reality. You know, they can't, right? But what I'm hoping that we do here, and it's risky, it's not an easy thing, and people may not agree, but make you feel comfortable to find someone that you can really talk to, right? Because we got to have some central point of where to get this stuff off, right? And then not just where I can talk to the imam and go to him and just have a real talk. And then I know he can point me to someone who can help me, right? He may not be qualified. He can't do it. But, you know, I need a starting point. What I would like to see for us and everyone listening is that we become a starting point in the healing process, right? So I say to myself, all right, how can I be helpful in that, right? We had a clothing line, me and a couple of my partners, right? It was called Over the Wall. We was in malls all over the place, right? All over the country, going to the magic show in Vegas. We was all over the place, making money. You ain't know I walked the runway in Paris, did you, Imam Luqman? You ain't know that, did you?
No, wait.
You didn't know I walked the runway in Paris multiple times. You ain't know that, did you?
In the suit, I can see you doing that though.
I surprise you, man. My resume got some stuff. No, right?
I can see you doing that.
Right?
I can see you doing that though.
But we had a clothing line, and that was the line, right? But there was a slogan in there, like, you know, a catchy phrase. It was over the wall. And then the line was tried, tested, battle proven. Right? Tried, tested, battle proven. And some of us who went through the things we went through in life, we can deal with hardship. We can deal with rough stuff, right? So some of us have the ability to express and are not afraid for censor or blame or criticism, right? Like, so the position you got, Imam Luqman, where you just say what you want to say and you don't give a crap what nobody think. And that's not all good all the time, but it's a characteristic that is a sincere characteristic. You got to refine it, but it's a sincere, like it ain't what it is what it is. No fake, right? And we need that to deal with what we're dealing with, right? I remember, I'm going to tell you a story. Because as imams, we go through some crazy stuff. I'm sitting in my office. I think this is about my second or third year as the head imam. I'm sitting in the office after Jumu'ah. A brother walks to my door and he knocks. I'm like, SubhanAllah, come on in, Ak. He says to me, Imam, I need you to talk to brother so-and-so and tell him his wife is my wife now. No, seriously. His wife is my wife now, and you got to tell him that they no longer married because I've been taking care of her, so whoever does the maintenance, that's his wife. Now, mind you, the guy he's talking about is a straight-up killer. I know him from Dunya. If he found out you were sleeping with his wife, he's going to kill you. I'm serious. That's why he told me to go tell him. Right? Like, dude's a straight-up killer. That's what's going to happen. He found out he going to smoke you. That's how that's going down. Imam, no Imam, you done. I'm sitting there looking at this dude like, I know you ain't telling me what you telling me. I'm really sitting there like, and it ain't, we can laugh later. It wasn't funny at that time. I'm like, man, he gonna kill you. But guess what he said? That's Quran and Sunnah, Ak. He was serious. He wasn't joking. Then the woman come right behind him and banging on the door. I'm confused, Imam. I don't know what to do. He said he's my husband, but he ain't doing nothing, but he supposed to be my husband. But you know what that sister ended up doing? She ended up becoming a prostitute. Real talk.
Yeah.
On the strip. And when I saw the sister, I was out one night and she walked by me with a John and she started crying. She's like, Imam, I need help. And I'm looking and I want to cry with her. This is a real story. I'm not making it up.
I know you're not making it up.
And I looked at that brother and he was serious. I said, that's not your wife. That's not your wife. That's that brother's wife. And you better not tell him that he was messing with his wife. But where he gets no understanding of the religion, no fiqh. Hey, Imam, Imam Luqman, hit your mute for a minute. No understanding of the deen, misunderstanding the Quran and the Sunnah, no walis, no guardians, men not being responsible, woman with kids trying to figure out how she's going to pay bills. She's creeping because that's what she knew from the streets, from the hood. It's real stuff. Now I can come in here, be like, call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, call it Rasulullah, Sheikh Fulan, scholar so-and-so. Ain't nobody trying to hear none of that. And guess what? These type of things, and all of y'all know as black imams, and maybe not exactly the same, these are things we got to deal with on a regular basis. I had hair when I was the imam. When I became the imam, I had a full set of hair and no gray in my beard. I can show you pictures. In 10 years, I look like George Jefferson and I got gray in my beard. Now, serious. But guess what? There are some great people with some great stories and doing good. But there is also this element, and it is our Muslim community. And no one gives a crap about these realities except the ones who are dealing with it. Right? Now we could come and assalamu alaikum and play all these silly games like I'm pious so-and-so and all that. That's not real. Very few are awliya of Allah in terms of outward practice. It's real stuff, right? You know how many coups that I had to put out since I've been the imam? You know how many coups that you go through? You trying to help people. I'll be honest, and I know imams. I'm one of them. Lost my house, family, everything, trying to take care of us. House gone. When you get these burdens and you got to make sure the masjid is surviving, make sure this, destroy women, family, all that. That's what we go through. And so if we don't have these, and then we got to keep going. Because ain't no one going to come say, Imam, I know what you're going through. Let me bail you out. Let me help you. Hell no. You better help them. That's all they know. I had an imam call me yesterday. He was asking me about a sister that came from another place to another place on trying to get married, end up not even 24 hours already looking for another place. And I thought about that. And I was advising them, give the person some zakat, help them get where they're going. And he got to worry about zakat money, because if he let people know how much zakat money they got, they're going to take the money. Because everybody needs zakat. And he don't got enough zakat money for the people who need zakat. And ain't nobody giving them none either. This is real stuff. But if we don't have a group of people to work and solve these issues, we don't talk about them, because you got another problem. And these are not just problems. I'm saying when you know what somebody's going through and you know what these imams deal with, right? Then you stop talking so much and you really start supporting and you really start helping, because these imams who are flawed, who can be, as some say, Negroes, you know what you really say about us, right? But when you run, when you go and I'm out of here, that imam is still dealing with all this crap. It's still in the trenches struggling. It's still wondering how I'm going to take care of that masjid that you abandoned, and my family, and my house, and the others who are suffering. He's still on the front line while you talking. He's still on the front line. Every day on the front line. While you sleep, his eyes are red. Because he got his problems, your problems, the other one's problems, everybody else's problems, and he can't say, look, man, I'm out of here. He got to deal with it. I could just think about these 4 imams, and they're only a reflection of what goes on all around the country. Struggling to try to do the right thing. And this is a reflection of the Black community. And there is good. There is a lot of good. But that good is not trickling down enough. There's a lot of good. A lot of successful people. A lot of people who are doing good. But you're only good, you're only strong as your weakest link. And you got to take care of that. And I'll give you an example. You have, and I'm sorry to take a little bit of time, we got to get ready to stop, but I want you to think about this. Right now, while we're talking, you got a group of imams over here doing their thing, a group of imams doing their thing, a group of non-imams trying to speak for communities that they have nothing to do with. Now, seriously, this is serious talk. And you got people talking about we standing for Black people, and you ain't even on the battlefield. You're not even on the battlefield. Every single day, we're on the battlefield. The local imam, every day on the battlefield. You got some guy in some college campus talking about how to solve the Black problem of Muslims in America. Really? Are you serious? And guess what? Taking needed resources out of the Black community that is needed on the battlefield for some false theoretical concept that ain't gonna help nobody on the ground. Just talk. Just talk. Rap. Nothing else. And I say that because I'm on the battlefield. I know what it's like. And any imam who's on the battlefield, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. Trust me. I know for myself, I could be doing a lot of other things. The doors are wide open for me. I could be Sambo anywhere I want to go. People would love to have me be the Black face. We got a Black imam. We doing something for the Black people. Sheikh Amin. I don't do that. Absolutely not. I'm in the trenches. Why? Because my people need me. And I need my people. That's real.
But you know what, man? That's the value. See, that's the silver lining. Because not just in this group, and I just want to tell everybody, put it out there, Imam, I mean, I'm gonna tell you why he might do. Different reasons for that. But when we talk about losing houses and all that, I've been through all that. You know, when I was homeless, I was still teaching, giving dawah. I was homeless in the park, and I was on Facebook, my first Facebook Live ever. You remember that day, man? First time Facebook, I'm homeless. You know, whatever things happen with the imams, because we try and strive and because we make mistakes. Imam called me. He hit my phone like that. He ain't say nothing else. He say, "Ma'am, give me a Cash App number, man. I ain't feeling this homeless stuff." I mean, that's how, and we ain't talked in years, right? We ain't talked in years. Last time I saw him was we was at a conference together in Delaware. Last time, and that was like 10, 12 years ago. Seriously. You know what I mean? And this is because a lot of these imams now who have been in the trenches, not just us, there's some cats have been in the trenches. All these stories, common stories, because you have a situation in America now where you have a lot of strong, smart imams around the country. We're just some of them right now. And other imams are talking some of the same thing because they have the same experiences. If you live in a black neighborhood, black Muslims, it's the same stuff. Same stuff, good stuff, bad stuff, ghetto stuff, junior stuff, all kind of stuff. You might have to go up in there, all kind of stuff. So now is the time to strike. What I'm saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you say we make dua. Allah says, Inna Allah la yastahyi an yadriba mathalan ma ba'udatin fama fawqaha. Allah does not, He's not ashamed from showing a parable, whether it's a net or anything larger than that. I truly believe that things will happen by chance. Now is a very, very good time in Black Muslim America for us to change the paradigm. Now is a perfect time as any, because you have a lot of experience. I know these imams and other imams. Listen, people have been tested, man, and there's a reason why imams are tested. There's a reason why any leaders, people are tested, because when you get tested a few times, you can always fall, but it just that the probability of you falling is low because you're there for life. Most, I know these imams, other imams, it's not a job. This is our life, man. This is contracts that we've made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm just saying that to say that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Because, and me and Imam had this conversation, the fact that we talking, seriously, I'm telling you, if you would have seen the conversation me and Imam had before, it's still my Facebook page. You would say, these cats, I'm serious, because I had to check him. And he checked me back. I had to check him again. He checked me. I'm like, dude, you ain't the one to check me. And he's like, I check, right? But we still on the same show talking. I'm saying.
Hey, but you know what, Imam Luqman, and I'm telling you, it's necessary that we do this.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
Right? Because at the end of the day, if I don't got your back, I could disagree with you. You could disagree with me. We could disagree all day long. Mm-hmm. But if I don't got your back, and you don't got my back, and we supposed to be leaders, you got to be leader for everybody. Yeah. There are a bunch of people who listen to me. My masjid is filled up. I do 2 Jummahs on Friday. That's how many people it's filled. Can't move, can't do anything else. Right? 2 Jummahs in my masjid. Not 1, 2. Right? There are people that listen. Not everybody. Some people think I'm crazy, right? There are some people that listen to you. Many people think you're crazy. No, I'm not joking, right? But here's my point.
Like
Imam Faheem, Imam Naeem. So we're all accountable for some people. If we don't got each other's back, you're alone by yourself, I'm alone by myself, he's alone by himself, he's alone by... And a lone sheep gonna get ate by the wolves.
Right.
So if we don't realize to say, yeah, that joker get on my nerves. Him and that Wahhabi stuff he be spitting out. But at the end of the day, that's my brother. And I love him. and he's a soldier, and he's my elder. And we're gonna work all that other stuff out. We're gonna tap each other up. But at the end of the day, when you tap me up, I know that if I call Imam Luqman, I need some advice, I need some experience, I need some help, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get it from Imam Faheem, I'm gonna get it from Imam Naeem. And we know the same thing. That's how we gotta be. Now, if we can be like that, everybody know Imam Amin has no tolerance for Wahhabi business. Right? The smell of it get on my nerves.
Come on, right? Man. They're your friends, man. That's it.
But at the end of the day, even though you like Sayyiduna, Shaykhuna, Maulana, Habib, Al-Allama, Al-Hujjah, Sayyid, you know the rest, right?
Right. My man.
That's your man. MashaAllah, you my man. Even if your man ain't my man, but you my man.
Likewise, man.
Right?
That's real, bro.
That's how we gotta be. And guess what? When you know you got men like us behind you, you can stand stronger. When I know I got men like y'all behind me, I can stand stronger. And if we all put ourselves together, and the people in this group, these people who attend these roundtables, who attend the class, know that we got a group of people who's down for us. I'm down. I'm not gonna cross you. I've never crossed nobody in my life. Right? You might not agree with everything I do, but you ain't gonna never say he crossed me. Nah, I ain't doing that. That's just not my style. And I believe that about y'all. And it's been tested. I've had people talk bad about you. I have people talk bad about you. I had a lot of people talk bad about you. But guess what? I tell all of them, they my people. They my mans. Through thick and thin, we gonna work it out. Right? And I'm gonna go to bat. If we all learn to do that with each other, if we learn to love each other, that sister who's stressed out, who can't find a husband, who got kids, and if I don't feel her pain, I'm not her brother, I'm not her imam, and I don't deserve to be listened to or followed.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, it's all rap until you got to do something. When I'm going through what I'm going through and you ain't feeling that pain, you ain't in that trench dealing with that stuff with me, I can't cry on your shoulder. Even if you can't do nothing, you can't even listen. Nah, we got to have that. Right? We got to have that. And we can't do it for everybody. We're only human beings. But we got to have the heart and the desire to want to do it. And this is a step. So that's what I'm asking from us. And that's what I'm asking from the people. That we learn to love one another. If it's just 60, 50 of us, 100 of us, well, that's 100 people to start with. And let's let everybody be sincere. And everybody help each other. That doesn't mean we're not going to disagree. That doesn't mean we're not going to argue. That doesn't mean we're not going to criticize each other. Right? Farouk, I don't want no money on my books. I need some money in the Masjid right now. He don't want some money on the books and bond. I want no books and bond. I want some money in the Masjid. Hit that PayPal. Hit that PayPal. Hit that Cash App. Don't wait till I go to jail and tell me how much you love me. I want you to love me while I'm out. Give me my roses while I'm free. Right? All right.
Nobody, man.
Can we get Imam Naeem and Faheem to give their last statements? We've been talking all night, Imam Luqman. And you broke out with dua.
No, we said enough too. But y'all want from the words, Imam Naeem?
It's 4 a.m. over here. I'm surprised I'm still up. Alhamdulillah. No, I think this, alhamdulillah, as we all been saying, this conversation is necessary. The solutions are not going to, we didn't get into this overnight, so it's not going to happen in a 2-hour span. But again, the conversations need to happen. And, and we don't have sulta. We don't have authority. We can't make any of you do anything. You have to come willingly. You have to volunteer. And a lot of times, like when you at work, your boss, he has a way to make you do something. He can fire you, or he can incentivize you. He can give you a raise. Every one of us has to come willingly, and we have to stop being scared. Like, who's coming with me? No, do your part. Do your part. The little $10. The participation, the coming to the classes. The coming to the classes is very important. A lot of times as imams, we feel like we got to teach a class in the Quba. We only got a half hour to be doing all that stuff. Because a lot of times people don't come to class. And we want to motivate you or speak about something that requires you all listeners to have a basic foundation of knowledge that a lot of us don't have. So we, in a Jumu'ah Quba, we got to spend 10, 15 minutes explaining basic stuff. We have to, this ummah is based upon knowledge. Muslims and knowledge go together. And so we can't be like a ummah of people that's scared of knowledge or come, lackadaisical or just like have a nonchalant attitude about knowledge. I mean, it just don't work. And this is one thing about this time period that we live in. People do not like seeking knowledge. They want what Imam Amin calls microwave Islam. YouTube video, 30 minutes, that's it. And we have to go beyond that. So that's all I'm going to say. I guess it's 4 a.m. ranting, discombobulated thoughts and ranting, scattered thoughts.
That was a shot. I caught that. That was a shot. Did you, Imam Boom Bob, did you catch that?
Caught it like Randy Moss.
Oh man, that was smooth too. Oh, all right, I see how that
real
goes.
slick.
All right, Imam Faheem, you got some closing words, Imam Faheem?
Don't worry. You Imam, I mean, you got some other people biting your early morning classes. A whole lot of people got a lot of AM reminders and stuff going on now. But I guess this is the new generation. And during our time period, you just don't bite somebody's stuff and just do it. You come up with you gotta be original.
MashaAllah. It's all good.
Okay, Imam Faheem, you want to say anything before we close out?
Drop that bread, man. That's it. I'm over here falling asleep. I'm on the regular time. But hey, drop that bread. Stay committed. Stay tuning in. We here for you, and we love you. We need you, and we appreciate you. Just we're gonna get to a point where you'll see the fruits of all of this, inshallah ta'ala. Just know that we those kind of imams that we in the trenches. You know what I mean? So, but drop that bread.
Hey, can I tell one little quick story? It's a fun story.
Nah, man.
Come on, man. Imam,
Hey, man, I like your stories, man.
Okay.
So we put up with your stories, man.
I gotta tell you a story. Right? This is
come on, man.
This is
This gonna be another hour.
Nah, it ain't. It's real quick. Because you're talking about sleepy, right? So when I was in my Ansar days, right? Naeem told his convert story when they were sending them Ansar books in the prison for him. Right? When he used to know where his kufi and drink a $40 joking. Right? No, here. One time, right? In Ansar days, Now I'm a teenager, and we used to have to go pedal. So here's the schedule I'm talking about notes, because we used to have the sleeps for chumps. That was the thing. Sleepy, what kind of chump are you? Right? That was the concept. Here we go. That's right, Farouk. So we used to have to go physical training from 6 after Fajr, then 6, and you have to go training and running and doing all the stuff. And then by 9 o'clock, you got to be out to go pedal, right? Go raise money. And all y'all know from Philly, New York, so y'all know about the pedaling stuff. But you had to be out by 9 o'clock, right? So 6, you Fajr, you get up, then you go do that running stuff and training and all that, and you out by 6, by 9. Now you can't come back to 9 at night if you got $100. If you don't got the $100, you can't come back to 12 at night, right? So if you got your money, you can come back at 9. If you don't, you can't come back to 12. And by 12 o'clock, you got to be back in, right? So now you come in, so you've been 6, Fajr 6, you out, 9, you out. Sometimes you don't make the money, so you might not get back to 12. So one day I get the 6 to 9, I get 9, I get back maybe 10:30, because I got 12 to 3 guard, because you got to do 3 hours of guard, even if you pedaling. Doesn't matter. You got to either 9 to 12, 12 to 3, 3 to 6, or 6 to 9. You got to take one of those guard posts and stand in front of a building on guard. So I come in like 10:30, I turn my money in, 12 o'clock, I get hit with guard. I got 12 to 3 guard. I'm on guard. Around 1 o'clock, it starts pouring down raining. Pouring down raining. Thundering and lightning. Run, rain coming down. I don't got no umbrella, no nothing. Now you got these rovers, head of security, supposed to run around and make sure everyone's all right, but it's raining, this joker don't come. I get 12 to 3. My partner, who slept next to me, supposed to have 3 to 6. They didn't wake him up, and he ain't come. And the rule is, if you leave, you're going to get a beat down. So I'm stuck from 12 to 3. This joker comes at 6 o'clock with an umbrella smiling. I'm flaming, but I know not to leave my post. And I'm where the women is at, so I definitely can't leave. If you leave that post and that building is exposed, you in trouble. 6 o'clock in the morning, I come, I'm like, I've been up since 6 o'clock the last morning, the morning before. I'm like, all right, I don't got to go do physical training. Nothing. I've been on guard. Oh, and you didn't come. Joker's like, no, you don't. You got to go do PT. All right. I go do. Now, when they say you got to go do PT, it's not like we do. I don't got to listen. Yes, you do got to listen. You're going to do that. I get in 6. I do the PT. Come back, and I get out again at 9 o'clock and go back out and pedal. No sleep. 24 hours going in. The sleep I got was from 9 to getting on the train in Brooklyn, and I ride the end of the train to Manhattan to sleep, and then get up and finish the day pedaling. And why I say that, this is real stories, right? Soldiers. We need that in our type of Islam. I ain't saying that you got to get beat up for not doing it. We need to be willing to work like that, right? You got to be willing. So, and anyone who's been in that community know exactly what I'm talking about. They got stories similar. And that was that kind of schedule, 365 days a year, no days off. So when I say, and I was a teenager doing that, as a grown man, I should know how to sacrifice, right? I should know how to sacrifice. All right, that was just my story to just give us. So we ain't asking nobody to do nothing like that. We ain't asking you to send $100 a day. We're not asking you to stay up all night. We're not asking you to almost catch pneumonia. And we ain't asking you that we're going to beat you up if you don't do it. All we asking you is to show a little bit of commitment. All right, close us out.
We have to keep this conversation going because it's the conversation, it's the himma, it's the concern, which is what helps bring about the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helping us find solutions to the fact that we're concerned about it. Anyway, ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منكم ومنا والأموات وألف بين قلوبنا واجعل في قلوبنا الإيمان والحكمة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ونصلي ونسلم ونبارك على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. Okay, we see everybody next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thanks for tuning in.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.